I'm back with another one, and today we're going to be looking at how the way I trade, what I do before I trade, my plan for the day, what I'm looking at, where the liquidity lies, what time frames I start on, and how I go down into the time frames. Also, the way I scalp, if I do take scalp trades, how much profit I'm going to take at certain areas, what percentage I'll use in my portfolio, and what sort of leverage I'm going to use. So yeah, let's get straight into the video. So this is how I'll be looking at trades. The first coin that I will look at when I get onto the charts is Bitcoin. It's the first one I'll look at to see what's going on, where's liquidity on the higher time frames, where the coin could potentially go, have we got fair value gaps, are we inverting fair value gaps? So let's have a little look. Right, so I'll start on the weekly most of the time. I'll have a look at where certain liquidity lies. So on the weekly, we can clearly see we've got high level liquidity there at this zone here at around 62,719. We've also got high liquidity below us at around, let's have a look, 49,033. As I've said previously in my other videos, I have got a big area of liquidity that lies around 38k. I'm not saying it's going to come down into that area, but there is a lot of liquidity that is lying in that area. This is on the weekly chart. So like I say, I'll start on the weekly. I'm having a look at this. There's a bullish fair value gap there in between this area of 47 and 44k. That's a big area, which is a bullish fair value gap. What I'm actually looking at also could be potential support, which was prior resistance where it chopped around. We had a bit of consolidation. That's on the weekly. Let's have another little look here. On the weekly, we had a bearish fair value gap around 65 to 63. We did come back in and tap into it on the 1st of July, dropped off, took out the liquidity that lied around 56k. We took that, we then came back up, we created a bullish fair value gap on the weekly as we came all the way up to 69,000. We then inverted that with a bearish candle on the weekly on the 29th of July. And we are sat at the minute around 61k. So possibly we could be looking to take the 62k area of liquidity. Also, we've got, I think it's CPI or PPI data coming out today, so we're going to be looking at that. Volume, it has increased from the 29th of July into August. Volume has increased. We've also got, when we go down into the daily now, let's drop into the daily. One sec, let's just go back to the weekly. The main point of control is at 64,000 as of now. But I don't really see much liquidity that lies there. Potentially at the value area higher, around 70k area, we have got a point there where there is liquidity that's lying. We've also got these equal highs at 71, 72k. And then we've got the big liquidity that lies at 73.7. But we've also got all this liquidity that lies below us at 49k. And we also have a bullish fair value gap that is in that area. So let's see where we are on the daily. I then go down into the daily. We did create a bullish fair value gap. We have inverted the bearish fair value gap, what was in the same area, which lied between 59 and 58. I can't really see any more bearish fair value gaps that did form, possibly a tiny one at around 62k, but we have got that high level liquidity around 62.6 that we could potentially be taking out. At the minute we are expecting this bullish fair value gap. I think I showed you all how I do that. I'll go into the fair value gap. I'll then go from the top to the bottom. In that gap, let's open it up. We're then going to be looking at the midpoint, which is around here. And every time we've come below that midpoint, we have come back up into that midpoint. And then we've gone off again. So that's what I'm looking at the minute. Then I'll go down into the 4 hour. So now I'm in the 4 hour. And if you'd have looked on the 4 hour, you don't need to overcomplicate your strategies. I see a lot of people thinking, oh, I want to see hidden bullish divergences. I want to see this. I want to see. You don't need to overcomplicate it. Stop overcomplicating it. You don't need to. So we're down into the 4 hour now. We came down. We tagged the bottom of the bullish fair value gap on the 12th of August at 5 AM. I'm not awake. I don't trade then. We then came back down and tried to tag it again. To be honest, it looked like smart money took over here around this area, pushed it back up. It then dropped back down to the 618, I think it is. It held the 618, it held the midpoint, then fired off. So today, I am looking at that area there, 62.7, that we could potentially be sweeping. We've also got this on the 4 hour. 61.862 that we could be sweeping also. We've also got some equal highs down here around 56k. But I like the longer term trades, if I'm being honest with you. They seem to be a little bit easier for me. So then what I'll do is I'll refine my entry. I'll go down into the 4 hour. Like I started on the weekly, I went down to the daily, I'm in the 4 hour, then I dropped into the 15 minute. So now I'm going to be looking at entries on the 15 minute. So what, we're on the 14th today. Yesterday at around 1:30, we came back up above midpoint again, held, and it went long. So that's the only reason I'm looking at we could potentially be taking out these areas. We've also got this here at 61.877 that could potentially be taken out. So let's drop back into the daily a minute. Before I can go bearish, and I'm not going to be going bearish yet, but I have said I've got this area marked out down here where I could be scaling another order in. We have not broken structure as of yet. Possibly this area before we can actually look at taking a long. If we're going to be going bearish on the daily, you know, I know a lot of people want to trade every single day, and I understand it. Yeah, you want to make money every single day, and I know that. But sometimes you just gotta sit there on your hands and wait. You all know I've said I think we're going to top out around this area on Bitcoin. That's my personal opinion before we do start to retrace all the way back down. But I really do think that we're going to hold if we do start coming back down, I really do think we're going to hold around this area. I don't think we'll go any lower. Like I say, it's all hindsight. We could potentially go lower. I'm not saying we are going to go lower, but let's just trade what we can see. Well, let me just have a quick drink. Right, so like I say, we're in this bullish fair value gap at the minute. Before I can really go bearish, I want to see something along these lines, and I want to see it invert that fair value gap. I want to see it invert that bullish fair value gap, and then create a bearish fair value gap around this area here. That's what I want to see. Let it come up, let it tag it, and then we can go bearish, and then take out this low level liquidity here. Until then, areas of interest 62.8, 66.9. That's what I'm going to be looking at. Down into the 4 hour, like I say, until we create something along these lines where we can invert that fair value gap, we are still bullish. If we do invert that fair value gap, start to mess around inside it, drop below it, create another, there's your entry. There will be your entry at 55. Coming down to take out this low at 49. Which, if we do something like that, it's going to be a lovely 12% drop. But let's see how we react when we've taken out this liquidity up above here. And like I say, we just want to show you how I'll look at the charts, and you know, when I'll take a trade and if I'll take a trade. Also, if I'm scalping, I use Atos. I think I've shown a lot of you about how I use Atos and the order books and things like that. So at the minute, we are trading above the value area high. If we can hold the value area high at around 61k, I do see us taking out the liquidity at around, let's go into the hourly for a minute so I can get a better overview of it. The liquidity at around this area here, 62.7. If we can hold that value area high at around this area, if we hold it, if we come down, we tag it, there could be a scalping opportunity there. The point of control is at 60.996 on the hourly. So we have got a potential long that may come in. We also getting a lot of buys around these areas. We're getting a lot of buys. And to be honest, my order book's not set up how I really want it to be set up. But that's for another video, the order book and Atos. I will re-upload another one for Atos and the way I trade. But when I'm scalping, I am actually looking at the smaller time frames. I'm looking at around the 5-minute time frame. I've gone through my dailies, I've gone through my 4 hourlies, and I'm actually looking at where we could potentially be going. For a long, we want to see it hold this value area high. Until then, we're not going to be going long. We are struggling at the minute at this area, but I've only got one trade open at the minute, and it's a coin called, sorry about the white screen there, when it loads, bit slow today. Right, at the minute I'm in a coin called Saga. I always look at the spot daily. Let's get our volume profile in. Let's have a little look. So we always keep struggling around this area, but I can see a lot of liquidity that lies on the daily in Saga around that area, which is, let's get on with it properly, let's refine it, 18963. We've also got on Saga some liquidity there that lies below at 8430. I am in a short at the minute on Saga. The reason I took a short was this candle here. It showed me its hand. I thought, yeah, potentially we could be coming down to lower areas. We've got a big bullish fair value gap on the 4 hour there. On the daily, let's have a look. It's created a bullish fair value gap in here. I'll let you know the price. There's the bullish fair value gap between the prices of 15261 and 1.3361. So if we go into the 4 hourly, have a little look. I think I entered the trade at around 1709 there, that area. I entered that trade, like I say, due to the fact I could see that it was struggling, and on the daily we had created a doji 4 hour. Let's have a little look. Don't know where my brush has gone now. So I were expecting something like this into this area. If it inverts it, then yeah, I'll hold that short. If we're holding here like this, we could potentially be going off and taking out that high there. Another scenario for Saga, if we start to come down and then invert that, creating a bearish fair value gap around this area, there will be your entry. And then we're going to be looking at the lower levels down here to take out that at 8430. But let's see how it plays out. I have got my stop loss in profit at the minute around this area. If I get stopped out, I get stopped out. That's my stop loss, and we'll go from there after that. But I really do want to see it tag into that area before I can go long again. Otherwise I won't be going long. I need to see it tag this area, and I need to see its reaction in that area before I actually take a long. And yeah, it would just, like I say, it was just a quick one showing you how I trade, what I'm looking at, when I'm looking at. Can it invert fair value gaps? Does it respect fair value gaps? Things like that. You know, like Saga here, or, you know, this is another reason why I was looking at Saga. We had a big bearish fair value gap there. We have respected it at the midpoint. We did start to drop off. So these are a couple of scenarios on Saga. I don't know what's going on there. So let's keep our eye out on that coin, Saga. And that's it today, guys. I have got another video coming up later on today. It's about the unusual activity alerts. So that's in CWP. That's in the premium Telegram channel. So I will be doing that later on today. So keep your eye out for that. And that's it from me. I will catch you in the next one. Happy trading, guys.